boy, cause I got all the hits, boy. Fuck all that Drake, you gotta chill shit. I be on my little mouse drill shit. Fuck all that rap to pay your bill shit. Yeah, I'm on some rappers pay my bill shit. All up on TV, I thought it made me richer. Wasn't paying me enough, I needed something quicker. So now I'm all in Nico basement, putting working on the phones. Either that or try the money mark to make the pickups. Man, it's 2008, I'm trying to paint the picture. Comeback season in the works, and now I'm thinking bigger. I got 40 in the studio every night, late night. Gotta watch this shit, don't wanna make them sicker. That's my nigga, oh Lord. Got a whole lot to show for it. I mean, we can really get it, we can go for it. I'm just here for the bucks and the Billies, nigga. Don't make me kill one of the ghosts for it. I run this shit, they like, go for us, run for us, run for us, go for us. Yeah, I mean, you already wrote for us. Damn, nigga, what's one more quote?
Peace and love, black family. This is Dr. Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, coming to you live and direct. Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. The occasion is the 4th annual Soul Day. We will be out in East Park today. I repeat, we will be out in East Park for the Nashville Soul Day. Food, fun, music, whatever you want to do. Entertainment. I'm looking forward to it. Only my second visit to Nashville ever. First time was about 5 years ago. Fisk University Auditorium, jam-packed, sold out. One of the largest indoor conscious events in the history of Fisk University. So we are back for part 2 today out at Soul Park. Tennessee, stand up. Chattanooga, stand up. Memphis, stand up. Knoxville, stand up. And of course, Nashville, stand up. So today, I've been getting a lot of calls from parents, questions about their children. So I wanted to do a special edition of the Black Parent Teleconference. Special edition. That's what we're doing today. So if you have any questions about your children, you can call 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. We are simulcasting Instagram Live and Facebook Live at the same time. If you prefer to text message your question or email it, you can do that too. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Or you can email DrUmarJohnson at yahoo.com. DrUmarJohnson at yahoo.com. Next Saturday, September the 14th, we will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's next Saturday, September the 14th. We will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The exact address for Bridgeport next Saturday the 14th is, I believe it's the Mission Baptist Church. Let me see. Yes, Messiah. The Messiah Baptist Church, 210 Congress Street. Messiah Baptist Church, 210 Congress Street in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Saturday, September the 14th, from 1 until 5, doors at noon. 1 until 5, doors at noon. You can get your tickets at the door, or you can go to eventbrite.com. For more information about Bridgeport, you can call 203-685-8762, 203-685-8762. You can also email bdmsmile at yahoo.com. Sister Joanne up in Bridgeport, Connecticut is hosting that event. And then we got Memphis, Tennessee, October the 5th. I am back in Tennessee again. This must be a Tennessee season. Memphis, Tennessee for the Black Survival Conference, Saturday, October the 5th. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Tulsa, Greenwood Cultural Center, Saturday, November the 2nd. And the very next day, we are in Oklahoma City. That's right, OKC. OKC. Russell Westbrook, stand up. OKC, we will be there Sunday, November the 3rd. Working on my Kwanzaa tour this year. It appears we're going to do Kwanzaa all through Florida. It's going to be a Florida Kwanzaa, first time ever. Dr. Umar in Florida for Kwanzaa. Jacksonville on December the 26th, first day of Kwanzaa. Orlando, December the 27th, second day of Kwanzaa. Then we're going to go down to Pompano Beach, right outside of Fort Lauderdale. So my Fort Lauderdale family, you're going to have to come about 20 minutes to Pompano Beach, Florida. That will be on Saturday, the third day of Kwanzaa. Sunday will probably be West Palm. Okay, and then Monday will probably be Miami. So we putting together the Florida Kwanzaa tour. If you live in Florida, and I've never been to your city, you need to get at me. As long as you got a venue. If you don't have a place where I can do the lecture, don't waste my time. But if you know of a place in your Florida city where I can do the lecture, shoot me a text and we can make it happen. Make sure y'all donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Make sure y'all donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809, 9634 Wilmington, Delaware 19809. Get those donations in. We're trying to raise $1 million to restore the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. We're going to start with the Marcus Garvey building. If we don't get enough funds, we'll just do the one school. But if we can get $1 million, we can do all 4 buildings, the entire campus. Be ready to open next year. Marcus Garvey Block Party. Get them donations in. We're no longer using Cash App. Cash App has been causing problems. They're not telling me why they're causing problems. They're not communicating. I think it's sabotage. So no more Cash App, all check and money order, as well as bringing your donation to today's event in Nashville, bringing your donation to Connecticut's event next Saturday in Bridgeport. Oh, I almost left out Pontiac, Michigan. Pontiac, Michigan. The Prince of Pan-Africanism will be in Pontiac, Michigan for the first time ever. On Wednesday, September the 18th, Pontiac, Michigan, is going to be a live interview lecture, and it's going to be live streamed with a special guest audience. If you want tickets to that, shoot me a text. Shout out to Detroit. I ain't seen Detroit since New Year's Day 2018. I haven't forgot you, but I'm sure a lot of my Detroit family will come out to Pontiac on Wednesday, September the 18th. Okay, Florida, we working on Kwanzaa. If you got any venues I can use in Florida, we need something in Miami. Okay, we looking at St. Lucie. We looking at Rosewood, Florida. We looking at Tallahassee. We looking at all different types of possible venues for the Florida event. With no further delay, I want to go to the phones. 857-232-0158. Questions about the children. We're going to focus on the children. If there's not a lot of questions about the children, we might do general questions, but it's about the babies right now. I want to focus on the babies right now. So if you have a question that's not about the babies, I'm going to ignore you right now because we're not on that. Again, you can text your question, email your question as well. Okay. So let's go to the phones. And again, the way we do this is I ask people to give me the city that they're calling from. That's how I will keep the order of the questions. So, good Garvey Day to the people on the phone. Do we have a question this morning? If we do, just give me your city. Y'all can shout out y'all cities and I'll write them down. Do we have a question to get us started? Anyone with a question on the line this morning? I know we got a lot of people on the line. Anybody with a question? No question on the line this morning. Let me check the text real quick. 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. All right. Any questions on the line? All right. Okay. We 10 minutes in, CP time. Parents, this is your time. It doesn't seem like we got a lot of questions coming in at the moment. If you got a question, call in 857-232-0158. 857-232-0158. Access code is 870-864-POUND. Any questions from the parents? Now's your time. Okay. I got a text question. What is your stance on our children joining the military. I don't support it. I don't support black children going into the military, especially not now, because peacetime has been over since the election of George W. Bush. Y2K, peacetime is over. Once upon a time, you could go into the military. You know, there was a peaceful time for maybe about 20 years. You didn't have to worry about seeing no service. Now you will see service. And without any type of college education, you're going to end up in the infantry or in some other disposable type of profession. So I don't support the military. Black folks ain't got no business fighting white folks' wars. Do we have a question on the line this morning? Make sure y'all mute your phones on the call. But if somebody got a question, all you got to do is state a city and state. Once I hear a city and state, I'll know that person has a question.
Hello?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania.
Sharon Hill, Pennsylvania, my neck of the woods. Go right ahead, Queen.
I don't have a question, but I wanted you to just talk about some beginners.
You breaking up. You breaking up a little bit, God. See if you can move that phone.
Is it been a full year? We should not be getting our children evaluated for anything this early in the school year.
That is correct. We should not be getting our children evaluated for anything this early in the school year. Absolutely. Unless, you know, it was a speech problem from last year, unless you've already suspected autism, unless they're blind, unless they're deaf, unless they have some sort of an orthopedic impairment, unless they have some sort of health issue that requires immediate attention. But absolutely, there should be no evaluations this early in the year for learning disabilities, which you cannot prove anyway, for emotional disturbances, which you cannot prove anyway, for mild mental retardation, which you can't prove anyway, for ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD. You're absolutely correct, my sister. There should be no evaluations this early in the year for the major special ed disabilities, because, you know, deafness and blindness and brain injuries and orthopedic impairments, they're not major in terms of prevalence. We don't see them a lot. Okay, what we see all the time is the so-called learning disability, the so-called emotional disturbance, the so-called mild mental retardation, and the so-called ADHD conduct disorder. Okay. Please mute your phone. Okay. 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 Here's what we're going to have to do, family. Here's what we're going to have to do. I think I know who that is disrupting the call. I think I know who that is disrupting the call. Yes. Is that you, brother, with all the noise in the background?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize I cut in on the call.
No problem. Go right ahead. Where you calling from, black man?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn. Stand up. Go right ahead, brother.
Question. I have a 4-year-old, actually going on 5. Is there any schooling you could recommend to me in Brooklyn or close by that I could have her enroll in to get that, you know, that good education, African education coming up?
Not that I personally know of. I do know that there are some African-centered schools and homeschool networks in Brooklyn. None that I can state off the top of my lip. I also know that there's also a, what is the name of that school? I think there's a Claire Muhammad school in New York as well that's run by, I believe, a sister from the Nation of Islam. But if you send me a text message, I will send you the name of an elder that you can call, and she will be able to put you in touch with all the independent schools in New York. She has a very firm grasp of what's going on in the community, and she'll be able to do that. Do you have my cell number?
No, I don't think so. I have the email, Dr. Umar at Yahoo, right?
Yes, but my cell number is 215 989 9858.
9858. All right.
Yeah. So,
All right, so
yeah,
yes.
text me. I would say text me tomorrow or Monday, because today I'm focused on the event here in Nashville. But if you text me tomorrow or Monday, I'll be able to get that to you.
All right, respect.
Got
All right,
it. All right.
Florida?
Florida? Where at in Florida?
Pompano Beach.
What beach? Pompano. Thank you for correcting me, sister. Pompano Beach. I will be there the Saturday of Kwanzaa, Saturday, December the 28th, I guess that is. It's the Saturday of Kwanzaa. And I'm going to need you to help me get the word out. So before you ask your question, I'm going to make sure you have my cell number, because you're my new best friend, because I need to know how to get the word out about the event in Pompano. Do you have my cell phone, good sister?
I don't. Can you let me know what it is again?
Okay. You ready to take it down?
I'm ready.
215
Okay.
989 9858. 215 989 9858.
Okay, I got it.
Gotcha. Go right ahead with your question.
Now, my question is, our black children, they have to have a strong sense of self. My question is, how can we teach our children to have that really strong sense of self without feeling in competition with their peers? Because I find that, our black kids are always fighting with one another, and it's not a competition. So how can we teach our children to, have that strong sense of self without having it's not a competition. You don't have to fight with your peers. You know what I mean?
Very good question. There's two parts to my answer, or two aspects to my answer, regarding this issue of making sure our children have a strong sense of self that's not rooted in competing with and dominating or outperforming other children. First part of the question is, we live in the United States of America, which is a Eurocentric culture that is based on competition and domination. So the culture we live in is about outdoing other people. That is white culture. That's what they do. Okay, they don't believe in collectivism. Okay, they don't believe in collective work and responsibility. They don't believe in equality or justice. They believe in domination and control. That's the culture we live in. Because of that, the school systems that our children attend, the schools that they participate in, have also been influenced by that same culture. So the schools by design are competitive. And the reason the schools by design are competitive in European culture, particularly in the United States, is because this country has no interest in taking care of everyone in it. This country has no interest in taking care of everyone in it. Because of that, they want the children to compete. Black, white, orange, green, purple. They want them to compete and outdo one another as a way of proving to the power structure that they are worthy of inclusion. So the way you get noticed by the power structure, okay, the Harvards, the Yales, the way you get noticed by them is by outdoing the competition. It's not about uniting. It's not about working together. It is about proving yourself by dominating the competition. That's how you get chosen, because if you don't do that, you'll never get chosen. We live in a capitalist society that is driven by power and greed. Capitalism is a monetary system that is based upon greed, total control of resources and opportunities. In such a society, there is never enough room for everyone. In such a society, there will always be a large percentage of poor people, a large percentage of have-nots. That is capitalism. So there will always be homeless people. There will always be hungry people. There will always be clothesless people. There will always be incarcerated people, because America don't care about everybody. Only those that can help the power brokers continue their carnage and exploitation of world resources. With that being said, there's no change in the system because the system is based on competition and only has enough spaces for a few people. The other part of this answer is rooted in the self-hate of African people. So separate from the fact that European culture depends on competition amongst its children to prove their worthiness for inclusion in its unhealthy, inhumane, economic and political system, you also have the self-hate of the Negro, which is a byproduct of that capitalism, a byproduct of that racism. And the self-hatred of the Negro, which can probably be summarized in the words of Will Smith, when he said, black people spend too much money they do not have, buying things they can't afford, okay, to impress people they don't even like. Okay, so we have a competition amongst ourselves as Africans in America to outdo each other in the name of self-hate. In other words, if I cannot be the best Negro, then obviously I'm nobody at all. Because after all, black people ain't shit. This is the mindset. Black people ain't shit. So if I can't be the best of black people, then I'm obviously not anybody. So in the consciousness of Negroes, within our psyche, embedded, trained, reinforced through parents, society, hip hop music, for example, the entire hip hop culture is based on competing with and destroying other rappers. That's the whole culture. There's no working together. It's all about being the HNIC. Our whole culture is about being the head Negro in charge by any means necessary. Becoming the head Negro in charge by any means necessary. So we have two problems. You have a European culture that is based on competition because it doesn't have enough room for everybody. And then you have a reactionary Negro culture that is based on self-hate, which is also about outdoing other black folks. So what is the solution? The solution is twofold. Number one, you said, how do we teach the children that? Well, number one, by doing just that, teaching them, directly telling them, this is not how we live. This is not how our ancestors live. This is not the culture of African people. We have to teach them that directly out front. But we also have to model that. So our children need to see us as adults actively engaging in collective behavior, collective work and responsibility, collective support, which is something we don't do a lot of, which is something we do not do a lot of. Black people are constantly comparing themselves to each other, constantly comparing ourselves to each other. We don't even notice white folks. We don't even notice the Chinese buying up the neighborhood. We don't even notice them because we're too busy trying to outdo one another. Why do you have rappers with 10 cars, but they come from neighborhoods without one single school for black kids? You got 10 automobiles in your parking lot, but there's not a single school for black children in the ghetto that you come from because they don't care about collective improvement. It's all about individualism. In fact, I would probably argue that black folks have achieved a level of individualism that might exceed white folks. We may be more individualistic than they are. We absolutely may very well be. So yes, you have to teach them directly, but the solution to all of this is we have to build schools. We have to build schools. And those schools cannot be based on competition as well, because we have a lot of black charter schools, right? But a lot of them are based on competition. So all they do is take the European model of education and socialization and they paint it black. They take the European model of education and socialization and they paint it black. That's not progress. Just like we took the presidency of the United States in Barack Hussein Obama and we painted the president black. Same racism, same white supremacy, same capitalism, same police genocide, same mass incarceration, same unemployment, but we painted it black, and black people even now consider Obama to have been progress. Can't name one thing that benefited black people because he was there, but we consider it progress whenever racism wears a black face. When racism wears a black face, that is never progress. Racism is racism, no matter the color of the person that's carrying it out. One of the reasons I'm so focused on building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, and again, I want to thank all the brothers and sisters who supported and donated us through this process because it was a tough process. But as we sit here today, thanking the Lord and, you know, being gracious for what the ancestors have helped us do, we have 2 schools in Wilmington. 2 schools in Wilmington. But now we have to renovate those schools. We have to renovate those schools. This coming week, we got a $40,000 Newcastle County tax bill we got to pay. We got a $20,000 City of Wilmington tax bill we got to pay. Okay, we have to pay a water bill every month. We got to pay a city operations bill. We got all kind of bills coming in. So when y'all donate, a lot of that money going right back out. So if we're not donating more than we're putting out, we will never reach our goal. So everybody have to step their donations up. If you was giving $20 a month, you got to give $50. If you was giving $50 a month, you got to give $100. If you was giving $100 a month, you got to give $200 in order for us to cross the finish line. But socialization is how we teach our kids to stop competing with each other. Book learning and speeches are only going to go so far. Book learning and speeches are only going to go so far. So for example, when you learn how to do hair, when you learn how to cut hair. So I was trained how to cut hair in high school, right? First, there's some book learning, right? They teach you how to cut hair. But just because they taught you how to cut hair, okay, and even though they modeled for you how to cut hair, you can never learn how to cut hair until you actually start cutting hair. So if we want our children to participate in a collectivist consciousness and in a collectivist culture and community, we have to show them how and make them do it. And that is socialization. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. Education is the information. Socialization is the behavior. And that's how we get that done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Queen. Make sure you send me a text because I'm going to need you to help me out. We only got about 4 months. I know that seems like a long time, but it's not. And I don't know the first thing about Pompano Beach, so maybe I got some, I don't know, black bookstores, cultural center, black talk show. But we'll talk about that. But please make sure you send me a text, Queen, because I'm going to need your help.
Absolutely. We'll make it happen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Pompano Beach, Florida, the Prince of Pan-Africanism is coming to town for the first time Saturday of Kwanzaa. Jacksonville, I apologize to Jacksonville. I had to cancel last weekend's lecture in Jacksonville, Florida to attend the funeral of a very, very special childhood friend. And then I had to turn around and cancel Orlando because of Hurricane Dorian and the airport shut down. So to make it up to Jacksonville and Orlando, you will be my first 2 stops on the Kwanzaa tour. Jacksonville, the first day of Kwanzaa, December 26th. Orlando, the second day of Kwanzaa, December 27th. And then Pompano Beach debut, Saturday of Kwanzaa, the 28th. 26th, 28th. And then we're going to work our way down to West Palm Beach, Miami. And we're looking for 1 or 2 other stops. So it's going to be a Florida Kwanzaa. Do we have another question on the line this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning, Queen. I'm going to need you to turn your phone up. Your voice is a little low. Where are you calling from, Goddess?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. That's one of the states I've never been to. We're going to have to make a Hawaii event happen in February. And I want you to contact me, Queen, because you and I are going to work together and make that happen if you're interested in doing so. But go right ahead with your question.
I have a question. I have a almost 12-year-old son. We've been told that he has ADHD, both types, and they keep trying to almost force medication. So I was just trying to see what should I do about the, outburst and everything without actually putting him on medication because I don't want him to medication.
Here we go with this ADHD monster. Let's talk about the ADHD monster. Number 1, my beautiful African queen, do not get your son evaluated for ADHD. Do not do it. ADHD does not exist. ADHD is a hustle. ADHD is a con game. ADHD is a fraud. Don't get the son evaluated for ADHD because if you do, if you allow them to evaluate him and they classify that young man with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, if you decide not to medicate your son, they will call Child Protective Services on you, and they will charge you with medical neglect. That will go on your child abuse clearance, and it will make it almost impossible for you to work around children ever again in life. They are very serious about putting every black boy on psychiatric medication as a form of social control. Let me say it again. They are putting every black boy on medication, psychiatrics, as a means of social control. In other words, the handcuffs is now the medication. The handcuffs is now the medication. See, this thing called ADHD came to us in 1980 as ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder. Same year the CIA dropped off crack cocaine, the American Psychiatric Association dropped off ADD. 7 years later, in 1987, ADD became ADHD. The reason they put an H in there, hyperactivity, was to justify medication for every black boy. To justify medication for every black boy. So if you get the diagnosis, and this is where black mothers and fathers have to understand, you can't take a chance getting him evaluated because ADHD don't exist. And since it don't exist, they can easily say your son has it, because if you can't prove it exists, you can't prove it don't exist, you see. So they can put that label on any boy they feel like it. And once they put that label on your son, you are doomed. They can now force you to clarify. They can't force you to get him tested, but they can force you to medicate after he's diagnosed. They can't force you to get him evaluated, but they can force you to medicate after he's diagnosed. So the way you stay out of this whole ADHD crap is you don't sign the paper. They're going to bully you. They're going to threaten you. And all you need to do is respond with a written letter to the principal. Always direct your comments to the principal, not the teacher, not the counselor, not the school psychologist, not the social worker, not the dean of students. Your letters should always go to the principal, because the principal is the legal responsible party in every school, the principal. So your letter should go to the principal, and you will simply say, I've been approached and I've been asked by Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so to have my son evaluated for ADHD. I have made my decision, and I will not be granting permission for him to be evaluated for ADHD. I do not want to be questioned or harassed about this again, and I would appreciate if you communicate to your staff members to no longer bring this topic up for discussion. Put it in writing, because they are not allowed to harass you. If they constantly harass you, then you can file a complaint against the school. Now, let me ask you another question. His school, is it predominantly black or predominantly white? What type of school is this?
It's predominantly Samoan and Hawaiian.
Samoan and Hawaiian. So your son is a minority, being an African in that school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what that means, if they keep on hassling you, we're not going to be premature in doing this, but if they keep on hassling you, we can turn this into a racial issue. Your son is being racially profiled by the Hawaiians and the Samoans, and you can make a State Department of Education complaint against them. You can also make a United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights complaint, discrimination against your son, trying to force medication and an evaluation because he is black. So that's a card we can play later. But the first card is to write a letter to the principal, asking the principal to have his educators back off of you and your son. Don't medicate your boy. Now, on top of that, you cannot assume that the complaints being made are valid. You cannot assume that the complaints being made are valid, which means that you're going to have to hire, and I don't know if there's any black psychologists, black counselors, black therapists, black social workers in Hawaii, but you need to find one and hire them to go into your son's classroom and observe him in the class to substantiate or refute what the teacher is claiming is taking place. See, teachers lie on children. And when they have it out for a child, they really lie on children. I know this. I'm a former school principal. I'm a current school psychologist. Teachers lie on kids. Yes, they do. So you can't assume that your son's teacher is telling the truth. So you may have to hire someone to go in and observe and substantiate or refute what's going on in that classroom. See, right now, all you have is your teacher's word and your son's word. They could both be lying. You see? So or they could both be telling just a little bit of the truth. You need an independent observer in that class to see what's going on. That's your next move, Queen. That's your next move. You need that independent observer in there. But in the meantime, you can also ask questions like, what is the behavior plan for my son in that school, in that class? What does the teacher do when he misbehaves? What does she do when he has a successful day? Because guess what? If that teacher is not punishing misbehavior, it will get worse. If that teacher is not rewarding good behavior, we won't see more of it. You have to punish misbehavior and you have to reward positive behavior. That's how we get what we want from our children. You must do both. You cannot do one. So you want to find out what the teacher is doing as well. Because if all she's doing is calling you and calling the principal up, that's not a behavior plan. Make sure you don't go to the school by yourself. Never go alone. Never, never, never. Take somebody with you. Never go to a school alone. Take somebody with you. Did you have a follow-up question?
No, that would be all. Thank you.
All right. No problem. Also, for the parents out there, if you need one-on-one private consultation, you have something that you don't want to discuss on the Black Parent Teleconference, and of course, I don't do these as much anymore because we have a school to reconstruct, right? I don't do these as much. So if you need private consultation, you can text me. I charge $75 for 45 minutes. $75 for 45 minutes, but I'm not a stickler for time, and you can text me at DrUmarJohnson@yahoo.com. I also do life coaching. I do life coaching. So if you need life coaching, you're depressed, relationship problems, you don't know what to do with your career, anxiety, low self-esteem. If you need a life coaching session, we can do that as well. And we can also do that live. We can do that WhatsApp live, Facebook live, FaceTime live. If you want to do a live counseling session, we can do that life coaching session. So again, all you got to do is text 215-989-9858 to do that. Do we have another question on the call this morning? Is there another question on the call this morning? Let me see if I got any texts. Yes, sir. Where you calling from, beloved? Los Angeles, California. I'm still looking for a venue in Los Angeles and Oakland and Sacramento. California hasn't seen me because y'all haven't helped me find no venues. Go right ahead with your question, my brother. Your voice is a little low. If you're able to turn your volume up, that'd be good. You're a little low. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, sir. You're a little better. I can't hear you, beloved. Your voice is it's not good at all. You sound kind of far away from the phone. Are you on speaker? Are you on speaker?
Hello?
Yes, sir. There we go.
Can you hear?
Nice and clear now. Go right ahead, beloved.
Okay. So I'm willing to help you find a venue out here. That's for one.
All right. Appreciate it. Do you have my cell number? Do you have my cell number, beloved?
So I'm gonna just talk straight, and then no, I'm not on speaker.
No, I said, do you have my cell number? Do you have my cell number so we can stay in touch?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Go right ahead.
Oh wow, that's like a 2-minute delay.
Go right ahead. I'm listening.
What's the cell number?
215.
No.
215.
215
989
989
9858.
9858.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll be in contact because this is crazy. All right.
All right, my brother.
All right, bless.
Bless it. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Pompano Beach, Florida.
Pompano Beach, Florida. Same queen or different queen?
Same queen.
Go right ahead.
My question is, how can we discipline our children without teaching them to resort to violence to solve their own problems or to channel their own frustration?
Good question. How can we discipline our kids without teaching them to resort to violence to relieve their own frustration? Well, first of all, we got to be very clear about something. In this European-controlled world that we live in, violence is sometimes necessary. So I don't want to teach our kids that violence is never necessary. If you got to defend your mother, defend your sister, defend your queen, defend your daughter, defend an elder, defend a sister in the community, violence is a part of life because the European introduced itself. He didn't create violence, but he has created such an atmosphere of violence that it would be irresponsible for us as parents to teach our children that violence is never necessary, because at times it will be. With that being said, my regimen for discipline is real simple. A child should only be physically punished if the behavior that was committed was so egregious that it could have significantly affected their safety or the safety of another human being. So let me give you an example. If your daughter or son comes home late from school, they're supposed to be in by 4, they didn't get in till 6, that's going to be a punishment. Maybe they don't go out the rest of the week. Maybe they have to go help clean up a neighborhood community, because I believe in putting kids to work instead of just sending them to their room. Sending them to their room is not a punishment, because their room has all the new gadgets. They got Instagram in their room, Facebook is in their room, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, internet. Sending a child to a room is like sending them on vacation. Sending a child to a room is like sending them on vacation. So I don't believe in sending them to the room. I believe in putting them to work. Get them out the house and put them to work. There's always people who need help cleaning, building, organizing. We got elders who need their houses cleaned. Put them to work. That's what I believe should be done. Now, if your child now coming home from school at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, that's a punishment. That's not a physical spanking for me. If they come home from school 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, that might be a physical punishment, because being out that late can get you kidnapped, raped, all kinds of a situation that could significantly affect your safety. If you see your 2 or 3 year old, you know, they do something, they talk back, or they play with a toy you told them not to play with, they might be put on timeout. They might get early bed. But if your 2 or 3 year old is caught playing with fire, then you might got to spank their bottom, because playing with fire can get them burned up, can get the house burned up. Grandma is upstairs in a wheelchair, can get her burned up. That can significantly affect their safety or the safety of another person. If your teenage daughter gets caught having sex, am I automatically spanking her because she was having sex? No, because she had protected sex. That might be a conversation. Okay, children are attracted to each other. So, all right, we need to have a conversation. You're sexually active. That's a conversation. It might even be a punishment in it. Okay, because I wasn't aware you was doing this. All right, engaging in adult behavior without adult consent. But she ain't getting spanked for that. If I find out she was having unprotected sex, now she might got to get a spanking. Why? Because unprotected sex can get herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, AIDS. You can get pregnant, bringing a life into this world that neither you or he is prepared to take care of. So again, if what the child did can affect the safety of themselves or another human being, that could warrant a spanking if the parent deems necessary. But if what they did does not significantly alter the safety, does not put in risk, in jeopardy, the safety of themselves or another person, I don't think physical punishment should be resorted to. And I don't think fathers should ever spank daughters. I do not think fathers should ever spank daughters. And the reason I don't think fathers should ever spank daughters is because we have a very big problem of domestic violence in the black community. And because we have a big problem of domestic violence in the black community, as men, we need to stand on a platform that lets our daughters and women know that you never ever put your hands on a woman under any circumstance for any reason. So if the female child warrants a spanking, that should be carried out by her mother. Men, black men, should never put our hands on our female children. Did that make sense to you, Queen?
Thank you so much.
And I want to add another piece to that. I want to add another piece to that. And that piece is, no punishment will be effective if it doesn't matter to your son. No punishment will be effective if it doesn't matter to your son. So when you're looking at consequences for your son, you want to make sure you're dealing with consequences that matter. Okay, it has to matter to him. Parents say, well, I've tried everything. No, you didn't. Because every child has an Achilles heel. Every adult has an Achilles heel. Every human being has things that if it happens to them would frustrate their life so much that they would be willing to do anything to stop it from happening. So you have to find out what that is. Is it the cell phone? Is it basketball practice? Is it the girlfriend? Is it the next door neighbor? Is it his homies? Is it hanging out with you? Is it being with his cousin? Is it the internet? Every child has Achilles heels. You have to find those Achilles heels and you have to squeeze them. And in addition to that, you got to have the positive motivation, because I believe in negative motivation and positive motivation. By positive motivation, what are the rewards that he will earn if he does what he's supposed to do? Never give out rewards every day. Never give out rewards every day. So what you would tell your son, if you meet this mark at the end of the month, there will be a reward. If you meet this mark at the end of the school marking period, there will be a reward. If you meet this mark by your upcoming birthday, this will be the reward. You make sure the reward is out far enough that it requires him to engage in a significant change in behavior in order to obtain that reward. Never make the reward expensive. It should never be expensive gifts, and it should never be money. It should never be expensive gifts, and it should never be money. Okay. I was once asked, why do I support the spanking of children? I was asked this. The reason Dr. Umar supports the spanking of children is because we live in an extremely racist society where black children can receive the ultimate punishment, which is loss of life, for a minor mistake. Let me say that again. We live in a society where black children can receive the ultimate punishment, which is loss of life, for making a minor mistake. For example, if the police tell you to freeze, and you don't freeze, they have permission from the President of the United States and the United States Congress and the Supreme Court to take your life. That is how critical discipline is for black children. You live in a country where your life will be taken for not having discipline. So the reason we spank our children is to introduce them to the possibility of what can happen later in life on a much more extreme level for not having discipline. So the reason we as black people must spank our children at times is to let them know that if this hurts, if this little spanking hurts, this is nothing compared to what will happen to you if you show a lack of discipline in the white man's world. That's why I support spanking, but only when it is necessary. I do not support child abuse. And child abuse is when you spank a child when spanking was not necessary. When you spank a child when spanking was not necessary. That is child abuse. Did you have a follow-up, Queen, or are you good on that?
No, that was excellent. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you, love. Looking forward to working with you as well. I'm getting questions as to when I will be speaking today. And here in Nashville, Tennessee, I will be at East Park and I will be speaking at 2 p.m. I will be here at East Park and I will be speaking at 2 p.m. today. Come on out and support the Nashville Soul Organization. Okay. Good brothers and sisters who run this organization today in Nashville, East Park. The Prince of Pan-Africanism take the stage. It is free outdoors, food, fun, music. I can't wait to get out there and meet and greet all my Nashville family. I'm looking forward to it. It's a beautiful sunny day. Leo season might be over, but the Leo is still here. Do we have another question on the call this morning? Leo season. Do we have another question on the call this morning? At this time, go right ahead. Where you calling from?
Good morning, King.
Good morning, King. Queen, excuse me. Good morning, Queen. Where you calling from?
Iowa.
Iowa. What city in Iowa?
Davenport?
Davenport. How many black folks in Davenport? Little bit or a lot?
Very little.
Very little? Okay. I need to get back out to Iowa. I've been to Des Moines, Iowa once, a couple years ago.
I heard.
And I was put out the church. They put me out
I heard.
for being too revolutionary.
I'm so proud of you.
So that was my experience in Des Moines, Iowa. Go right ahead with your question, gorgeous.
I'm so proud of you. It needed to happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So here's my question, King. And I did tell some sisters from Pontiac, Michigan that I know that they need to get there on that Wednesday.
Yes,
Here's my
ma'am.
question for you. My nephew is at a new high school, and he is taking medication, and relatives have it. They've encouraged my family member not to tell the school, and he's having some adjustments to be in a new school, and they're seeing some new behavior, and we're, as a family, trying to decide what's best as far as how to support him in a new environment, an awkward middle school space. He's very smart, and he also, some people feel like he needs medication. I don't support that. I respect his parents, but I don't support that. What do I need to share as a relative and concerned family member about how do we advocate for him at school, but also get him some mentorship? And I don't know what to do about, like, hyperactivity outside of medication, but I know there's a way.
What grade?
6.
Sixth grade. You said he's already on medication, right?
He has been, but there's an opportunity to have him reevaluated, and I'm encouraging, let's look at something different.
What is his diagnosis? Is it ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD?
ADD.
ADHD. There's no more ADD. ADHD.
I'm sorry, ADHD.
So, and what medicine was he taking? And how long was he on it?
It's inconsistent, and I don't remember the name, but I can tell you from an outside view, it doesn't appear to have been working.
Okay. The reason it wasn't working because he don't have ADHD. That's why it wasn't working, because he don't have that
Right.
problem, because that problem don't even exist. Do you know how young he was when he was first diagnosed with ADHD and given the meds?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, 4th grade, way too young for that nonsense. Does the school know that he has an ADHD diagnosis?
No.
They don't. Are you sure?
Father.
Okay, I would not tell them. I would not tell them. If they
I would
don't,
not either.
I would not tell them. But we do got to work on his behavior. We do got to work on his behavior. Well, school just started. How is he doing so far? You still there, Queen?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How is he doing in school so far? Because he's back in school. It's only been a few weeks. How's he doing so far?
He's attention seeking, he's awkward.
Where's his biological father? Where's his biological father?
Down south.
Down south. When's the last time he's seen his biological father?
All summer.
He was with him all summer?
Yes, sir.
Did he want to come back?
He did, and that's for stability with his mom, but he did have a great summer.
Okay. I'm not certain he wanted to come back. I'm not certain.
Well, when you bring that up, I guess that's a question I didn't ask him, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah. I'm feeling like he liked it with dad and that he probably should have stayed with dad. That's what I'm picking up. Okay, here's the thing. You said he's attention seeking. See, that right there, that tells us why he's doing what he's doing right there. He's attention seeking. The question is, seeking attention from who? See, the attention he's seeking in school is a substitute. That's a substitute for the real attention he wants. I believe it's dad. Now, does mom has a significant other in the house?
No.
No. Does she have a significant other in her life that he knows, that the son knows?
No.
Okay. So he don't get any masculine energy, really, at home with his mother.
Right.
Boom. That's what the problem is. He's going to school acting like a class clown, being attention seeking because he needs a man's attention. It is natural for a boy to crave that, especially at the age he's at now, adolescence, pre-puberty. He's right there at that time. He needs his dad. And he just got all that daddy attention all summer long. Great summer. And then he gets uprooted out from what he needed so much and get put back in a situation where he ain't going to get it. It's like going from ice to sun. It's like being in the sun and then you get picked up and get thrown in the ice. It's traumatizing to an extent. He's traumatized a little bit because he just got cut off from what he needed so much. I think there needs to be a conversation between mom and dad to see if dad will let him be with him during the school year. He could come with mom during the summer. I think they need to flip-flop. I think it needs to be mom during the summer and dad during the school year. If it were up to me, that's what I think needs to happen. If that can't happen, then something needs to be created whereby he can spend more time with dad. So whether he flies down there once a month, you got 4 or 5 weekends in a month. So maybe he can fly down there once a month or fly down there for the holidays. But we need some sort of continuity of connection with his dad. That's all this is. What do I refer to ADHD as? Ain't no daddy at home disorder. That's what your nephew has. He ain't got ADHD. He got ain't no daddy at home disorder, the other ADHD. That's what this is.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely talk to her about that. It makes sense when you explain it that way. Talk to me about the medication and another eval and how that affects him at home and school.
Okay. As I told the good sister from Pompano Beach, don't get him evaluated. Because remember, you can't prove ADHD. So there's no test that tells us your child has ADHD. That is an opinion that we generate as the psychologist based on the information that we have. Okay? So getting him evaluated is a trap. Don't do it. Because once you get him evaluated and they give him the label, they can now force the medication. Don't get him evaluated, no matter what. The mother has to be firm on that. She cannot sign permission. Once she signs permission, she gives them the power to label him. Once they label him, they can bring in Child Protective Services to force the medication. Do not get that evaluation. He does not need it. And if they harass the mom, all she has to do is respond in writing, telling the principal, I have made my decision. My son will not be getting evaluated for ADHD, and I don't want to be harassed about this anymore.
Thank you. I heard you respond to another sister that way. And I definitely agree that I don't think he needs it, but I'm not a psychiatrist.
Right. Well, remember what I said. Although you're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I am. And even if you're not, the side effects, my queen, the side effects is the reason I'm so much against these meds. They kill brain cells, stunt growth, early balding, psychosis, tic disorders, schizophrenia, suicidal thoughts, homicidal ideation, eating disorders, organ dysfunction, sexual dysfunction, impotency, and the list goes on and on. Why do we want to introduce those types of side effects into a life of a child? And then on top of that, be forced to continue with it, even when you see the side effects, because the white folks determine that he still needs it. That's when it really gets bad. When you see your son go through these things, your nephew go through these, and then you say, okay, we taking him off. And then the school steps in with the backing of Child Protective Services, despite all the side effects. They say you cannot stop this or we will take your children from you. And when they come to take the children, they don't come to take one, they come to take